All right, I think we're live. Hey, Wrestle Takers. I'm here just to talk about the Monday Night Raw that I just finished watching. Sorry I got here a little later than expected. It took time to get everything sort of set up and squared away. I'm just wanting to come on here and give quick thoughts on the overall show. First of all, I thought it was absolutely ridiculous that they did not address the Seth Rollins versus The Fiend from the main event of Hell in a Cell. I think they didn't address it because they don't really know what to do. I think they don't know what they're going to do yet. I don't think they really had anything planned out beyond Hell in a Cell. I think this is just another example of bad WWE planning. They have no future planning whatsoever at this stage. They plan everything week to week. I don't think they have long-term planning. Their main focus right now is certainly, very obviously, this Crown Jewel house show, glorified house show that's coming up for Saudi Arabia. And you also have Vince McMahon planning for the XFL. The XFL draft comes up in like another week or so. So I think the overall product is suffering. We opened Raw with basically the Rusev, Bobby Lashley, Lana love triangle crap. I don't even know if you call it a love triangle. It's more like just Bobby Lashley and Lana cucking Rusev on live TV. It's stupid. Who wants this? Is this Paul Heyman's writing? Is this the wonderful, brilliant mind of Paul Heyman? Because if it is, it sucks. And I think Paul Heyman is overrated anyhow. And I know that'd be controversial to say, but where are these amazing episodes of Raw that Paul Heyman was supposed to bring us? And I know the Heyman fanboys will say, well, you don't understand. This is WWE meddling with Paul Heyman. No, I used to watch WCW, ECW back in the day, and they had some kind of iffy storylines like this too. So, and this is more just Jerry Springer garbage that I don't think anyone wants to see except whoever's writing it. And I'm imagining it might be Paul Heyman. I sure hope not. I hope they get the feedback that this is garbage, that no one likes this, and that they just bury this silly thing. Here they are once again, poorly using Bobby Lashley. What are you doing to this guy? He is a legitimate MMA fighter with like a 25-2 record or something like that. And you got him doing, they brought him back. They had him with that stupid storyline with his sisters. And then they had the Almighty version, which also wasn't very good, teaming him with Leo Rush. Thank God Leo Rush is off TV now because that guy was just annoying. And then we got this now, Bobby Lashley with Lana. And yeah, granted, this should lead to a match between Lashley and Rusev at some point, and maybe that'll be a good match. But the storyline around it is just ridiculous. Anyhow, it was supposed to be Rusev versus Randy Orton, and I guess Baron Corbin was there for some unknown reason. And anyhow, match never really took off. I gave this segment basically a 0 out of 100 because it was just stupid and pointless and an overall waste of time. And I've spent too much time talking about it right now. Then we got Lacey Evans versus Natalya. Again, for some reason, I don't know why they're bothering with this. This wasn't an interesting feud to begin with, but they keep giving it to us. This was hopefully the final segment of this bad storyline between Natalya and Lacey Evans. I'd much rather see someone like Sarah Logan come in and get a shot. You know, we had back at the Royal Rumble, it looked like maybe they were actually going to do something with her. And no, they didn't. I'd rather see anything else get done rather than more Lacey Evans bad storylines at this time. I gave the overall match a 40 out of 100. I feel like that might even be a little generous, but I don't want to be too mean. But it dragged on quite a while. In a match, yes, we give WWE a little credit for actually putting on a women's match for um, some significant time. It's too bad it had to be this particular match that wasn't very good. Anyhow, then we had another lame Aleister Black promo. I'm sorry, I love Aleister Black in the ring. His promos are garbage. I'm sorry, they don't resonate with me. I think they're very boring. I think maybe Triple H likes them because it seems like old bad Triple H promos where he would get on in the ring and do these kind of monotonous things. Um, Anyhow, I'd like to see Aleister Black actually get in a feud with someone, and then maybe his promos would be a little more interesting. Then we got Rudolph versus the Viking Raiders in a really good tag team match. It was solid. It was lengthy. It went on for a while. And then I realized that it was not for the tag team titles. As soon as the Viking Raiders won, I sort of figured that I had missed it whenever it was on, if it was for the tag team titles or not. And I was like, oh, they won. It must not be. It's probably for a shot next week. Later on in the show, sure enough, that's what we get. Anyhow, I gave the match a 70. I thought it was a solid match. It's just really lame to set this up. I'm never a fan. Hi there. I thought Raw was absolute garbage, and I'm kind of covering that now. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I did not. Uh, just talking to one of our viewers in here right now. I did not. The end of Raw. We will get to that. I'm gonna get to that. I'm kind of running down the whole thing right now. I thought the end of Raw with Tyson Fury and Braun Strowman would have been better placed elsewhere in the card, earlier on in the card, maybe the end of the first hour or something like that, but not for the main event. This was supposed to be the main event. I hate it when the main event is not an actual match, but just a segment. That's really lame, in my opinion. The main event should always be a match with some kind of finish, even if it's a unsatisfying finish that's reaching to something in the future. This wasn't a match. This was just a face-to-face that turned into a brawl, as we knew it was going to do because it's so predictable. But we'll see what they're going to do with this. This is just going to be, I think, something at Crown Jewel that's just going to be, a spectacle. It's not really going to be much of a match, of course, because, of course, Tyson Fury can't wrestle and Braun Strowman can't box. So it's going to be one of those kind of deals where it'll just be some kind of spot that probably won't look that great, but I don't know, it'll get WWE some headlines, and I don't know, maybe the Saudi people over there, maybe they'll get a kick out of it. I don't really know. I know they've also been trying to get a lot of high caliber boxers over in Saudi Arabia, because I do follow boxing as well. Anyhow, getting back to Aleister Black, they had him squash the Singh brothers. I think the Singh brothers have really gotten a raw deal. I think they're a little bit better than they've been presented. And here they are on TV, which, yeah, they've been hiding out on 205 Live forever. They get on Raw and they get squashed. They look like a joke. It did make Aleister Black look strong, I guess, but which is nice. I like his, his kick, the Black Mass. And I liked that choke submission he put on. He kind of had his hands behind his back, locked up in an S-lock behind his back with kind of a guillotine choke. Just really a different way, not guillotine choke, but like a reverse, sort of a rear naked choke variation. I don't know what he calls it, but it did look cool, and hope to see more of it. I gave the match a 50 out of 100. It's a squash match. How high are you really going to rate one of those? Then we had the Rey Mysterio promo Brock Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez, him talking about that. I thought it was a pretty decent promo by Ray. It's pretty obvious promo, but it was decent. It's hey, I had to sit there and watch my son get beaten up. Couldn't do anything about it, and so I've got his. I don't know if it's true or not, but his godfather, Cain Velasquez, who destroyed Brock Lesnar in their UFC fight. If you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. Go check it out. I think that was one thing that wasn't really understood by everyone whenever Cain Velasquez showed up. It wasn't as to why Brock Lesnar was so terrified looking. It's because Velasquez absolutely decimated Lesnar in a round. It would be sort of the equivalent if you had CM Punk and I guess Mickey Gall show up. Believe me, Punk would be scared. He doesn't want that again. Then we jump to the OC versus Lucha House Party. I thought this was going to be another squash match, but props to WWE letting Lucha House Party actually put on a good match with the OC. I thought this was exciting. We had a good mix of high flying action and some good heel work from the OC. They win, of course. Styles hits the Styles Clash on Lince Dorado after the match from the corner. I gave that match a 75 out of 100. And then, getting to the next segment was Miz TV, Becky Lynch and Charlotte. Becky and Charlotte face off as we've seen this before. I'll kind of skip over that. Then we have Asuka and Kairi Sane count, the new women's tag team champions. They came out and cut a Japanese promo, which was way better than Asuka's typical English attempt promos. It had more energy. It even though we couldn't understand what she was saying unless you speak Japanese, it still came off better than what she normally does. And then they ran to the ring and it was a brawl before they had the Asuka and Kairi Sane versus Becky and Charlotte tag team match. And no, I don't really like calling them the Kabuki Warriors. That's a stupid tag team name. Anyhow, the match was really high intensity with a lot of fast moves. Then toward the end of the match, we had Becky throw on the disarmer onto Kairi Sane, and Charlotte, her leg had been just hurt seconds ago. So the refs attending to her, Asuka shoots the green mist in Charlotte's face, and Kairi gets the pin somehow. It's the same deal with the Great Muta. It's one of those sort of jokes almost that the ref doesn't see the mist, the green stuff all over Becky's face running down her shirt, and doesn't see Asuka with green mist running all down her mouth. It's fine. That's Asuka's new finisher is the green mist right now, it looks like. So anyhow, I thought this was a fun match. They kept brawling after this, and then of course Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross come out with their music hitting because WWE does not get that you keep the music off, so it's a little more of a surprise. Anyhow, I scored the match itself an 80 out of 100 on this show. I thought it was a pretty solid match. I thought it was the best match of the night. Next up, we had Apollo Crews versus Ricochet. The setup for this match was dumb. It was a nonsense draft showcase. Okay, we got two brands. We got Raw and we got SmackDown. These wrestlers, it's kind of a nonsense thing. The wrestlers should not really care if they're going to Raw or SmackDown. They're wanting to put on a good match so that they get drafted, but it's this ambiguous thing where it's like, well, where are you wanting to get drafted to? Obviously, us fans know, well, Fox gets the higher ratings because it's on free TV. That would be the show that you would want to go to now. They're not even willing to say that because they don't want to upset USA. So they just do this weird, it's a draft and it's a showcase. Okay. So anyhow, the match was a standard match. It was, and I'm talking standard for Ricochet because this was nowhere near Ricochet's best matches. It wasn't even Apollo Cruz's best match, but it was a good standard match. I gave it a 65 out of 100. We have seen much better out of Ricochet. And I felt a little bit bad for Apollo Crews that Ricochet didn't hit a 630 to pin him. He hit that kind of half code breaker kind of move where he just uses the one leg and jams his opponent's head. He pinned Crews with that. So I don't know if maybe is that what Ricochet is going to do for his finisher now, or probably not. I think they just went with kind of a quick pin scenario there. But anyhow, then that was the last match of the night for the TV audience, at least. 10:45 p.m. Eastern time, 15 minutes before we go off the air, they finally show Rollins versus The Fiend, which should have opened Raw. They just show the highlights. They don't say hardly anything about it, nothing substantial. They're just like, oh man, that was a crazy match. That's like all they said. Ridiculous. They never covered this. Again, it's because they don't know what they're going to do. They had no game plan after Hell in a Cell for that feud. And we had neither Seth Rollins nor The Fiend or even Bray Wyatt back in the Firefly Funhouse. We had none of them. Neither of these guys were back, and nothing said about it. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyhow, then we had the quote unquote main event, which was the scene. The main event was Tyson Fury and Braun Strowman. Tyson demanding an apology from Braun Strowman for pushing Dolph Ziggler at him, kind of. The guardrail kind of moved and bumped into him. I think it's pretty weak, but hey, it's fine. This is a spectacle. That's all it is. It's going to be, an untrained wrestler, Tyson, untrained, a guy that's not trained as a wrestler, Tyson Fury versus Braun Strowman at Crown Jewel is apparently what they're saying. I'm wondering if they're going to at least protect Tyson Fury by putting him in a tag team situation so that he can get in there and just do his one little punch to Braun, or if they're going to actually try to make it a one-on-one thing. I'm not sure what they're going to do. If they make it a boxing match, then obviously all Tyson has to do is his thing, and Braun just has to take a punch and get laid out. But I don't see how that's going to help Braun Strowman long term. And we know Tyson Fury is not going to allow himself to be shown up in this. So it's one of those things that is just somehow a spectacle. That I kind of see them doing just some kind of draw or something, some kind of weird finish that will be ultimately inconclusive, but it sold tickets and got media attention. That's all I think of the Tyson Fury versus Braun Strowman thing. And yeah, if they were to fight in real life, Tyson Fury would absolutely destroy Braun Strowman. There's no question about that. As soon as Fury landed a punch or two, maybe two. Strowman's a pretty big guy. He might be able to take two boxers' punches. And it's not that Fury is a knockout puncher in boxing. He's not. But that's against legitimate boxers, which Braun Strowman is not. And it's it's a real sport. It's a real legitimate thing. Um, Fury beat Vladimir Klitschko. Look up Vladimir Klitschko. Fury cleaned his clock. He absolutely embarrassed him. And he, he's him. Then you got the fight with him and Deontay Wilder, which I want to see a rematch between those two eventually. That's a whole other topic, whole other sport. But anyhow, yeah, I'll be glad when that is kind of done personally. So overall, I didn't think this was that great of a Raw. I gave it a generous, what I feel is a generous 50 out of 100. I thought it was below average for me. I was I was pretty disappointed in this Raw overall, have to say. Even though there were a couple of good matches, there were a lot of bad things to have to sit through, in my opinion. And that's just kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. Hopefully, SmackDown will be better this week. Um, wouldn't surprise me if it's not, but maybe it will be. We'll see what they do with this draft. We'll see if anything comes of that. I have to say, if things continue, if SmackDown is as bad as Raw was, if SmackDown continues to be as bad as this episode of Raw was, that's not going to be good for WWE with the SmackDown brand being on Fox, being new on Fox. That show could, if the ratings aren't there, if the quality isn't there, if the ratings aren't there, Fox is not going to like that. They're not going to put up with it very long. I'm sure they've got some kind of thing in their clause that WWE has to hit a certain number, or it's up to Fox whether they keep it going or not. I'm sure there's some kind of rating number where they can pull it if it's just abysmal. And I hope that doesn't happen. I know right now there's a lot of people, more hardcore wrestling fans, I guess you'd say, that don't want WWE to do well. Sometimes I see that kind of sentiment. That's not me. I want WWE to do well, and I want AEW to do well. I want all these wrestling companies to do well. And I'm the kind, if I see, I'm going to give them credit where they deserve credit, and I'm going to call them out whenever I see stuff that I, as a fan, don't like. And that's that. I totally respect all the wrestlers, even if I like not a fan of certain people, but I still have respect for them for what they do, getting in the ring, cutting promos, etc. That takes a lot of determination. It takes a lot of hard work, and anyhow, that's that. So, what did you think of the Raw show? I want to know what you guys thought of it. And I was going to try. I don't know if I can do a poll on this. Apparently not. Okay. I was going to add a poll to it, but I guess that's only on the non-live videos. All right, so I am going to go ahead and end this live chat. And I do intend to do AEW this week, the AEW review, which that one may not be live. I think I'm going to do that kind of like I did my other AEW video, the first one I did. But anyhow, thank you for watching. If you did watch this, please hit the like, subscribe, all that great stuff. And I'm going to keep trying to build this channel slowly but surely. Remember that I'm kind of the opinion. Sorry, I'm a little distracted here. I'm kind of the opinion that tides raise all boats. So anyhow, that's it for now. Have a good night. Bye. See ya.